KDXI St. George, Radio St. George at 100.3 FM. And we welcome you to The Extraordinary Talk Show, a show to help you understand yourself and the world from a new perspective, and in the process, help you find your own personal extraordinary. And now your host for The Extraordinary Talk Show, Della Hill.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Extraordinary Talk Show. This is your host, Della Hill. I gotta look around, make sure all of my things are running the way they're supposed to. All of the buttons that are supposed to be lit up are lit up, and not the other way around. So far, so good. Sean will let me know if I'm making a mistake otherwise. I want to again welcome you to The Extraordinary Talk Show here today. Today is Wednesday, July 20th, 2022. And what that means, guys, is it's our 4-year anniversary. Happy anniversary. I am blown away that I've been doing this for 4 years and that you guys keep listening. And I have so much gratitude for all of you. Quick first stuff, get out of the way. No matter how cool it is, please don't believe anything that I say just because I say it. And please don't forgive. Oh, that's doing something weird. Oh, there we go. Don't do anything I do just because I did it. I don't recommend you doing anything except what is absolutely right for you, and only you can know that. So today I want to tell you about the show, guys. Holy cow, what's happened in 4 years? A lot has happened in 4 years. 4 years ago, my life looked a whole lot different than it does right now. 4 years ago, I lived in Utah. Now I live in Nevada. There's a lot. Tell you what, I'm not going to catch up on all that right now. If you want to catch it all up, go back and find it, because there are places where you can find almost every single episode of The Extraordinary Talk Show that we've been doing here together for these 4 years. There might be one or two secret ones that were only aired live and maybe never shared anywhere else. I don't know. I would have to look really hard through my files, because I have probably somewhere between 150 and 175 audio shows recorded and saved, and somewhere up around 150 video shows recorded and saved that we have done live on Facebook. Also, in case you're not sure, I sit behind the desk right here. You can see Radio St. George behind me if you're watching on any of the video options. Also, you can check here in front of me. I have a really cool looking microphone in front of me with a sign on it that says Radio St. George 100.3. Because even if you're listening to this on one of the podcast formats, even if you're watching on Patreon or YouTube or shared somewhere else, which I hope so, yay, thank you, I sit down here in this studio, which you can see if you want to come to Radio St. George Facebook page, Radio St. George 100.3 KXDI. Sorry, I get that wrong sometimes. You can watch me talk live right now. I can see myself. It's on that camera over there. And then you can also go back through Radio St. George and check out some of the older videos. That's not the only place you can find this stuff. Right now, because this is actual live radio, this radio station is one of the two that broadcast out of Dixie State University in St. George, Utah. And let me tell you how this started 4 years ago. A little over 4 years ago, I was learning a whole bunch of stuff. My life had taken some big left turns and leaps and bounds and spins and tumbles. And, hey, you probably can share similar stories. And I had looked for hacks to try to figure out how to make my life better. Because for a while, it wasn't. And I was looking for life hacks, not things to do with the paperclip, but things I could do to make my own life better. And I came across this video called A 15-Minute Life Hack to Change Your Life by Vishen Lakhiani. It was a talk on stage, and he was talking about meditation. I went home that night, I meditated, and my life has not been the same since that day. And one of these days, I'm going to get to meet Vishen, and I'm going to tell him thank you for that. It is one of my dreams to be on stage with Vishen, so I'm looking forward to that. I was learning a whole lot of things. With meditation came understanding energy. Then I've always had this huge childhood, since my childhood, fascination with hypnosis. In fact, a friend's mom taught me the simplest basics about hypnosis when I was a kid, and I used to hypnotize my friends during sleepovers. And everyone's like, oh, hypnosis doesn't exist. It's not real. I can't tell you what to believe, but I can tell you what I've experienced, and I've hypnotized people. I'm not. Okay. So even as a kid, I did that. And I always knew I wanted to become a better hypnotist. I always wanted to be trained. I wanted to learn it from somebody who really knew what they were doing. So YouTube did another thing for me and dropped Dolores Cannon in my lap. Dolores Cannon is a woman who practiced hypnosis for about 45 years of her life, from the time she was 40 till she passed away in her mid-80s. Her daughter, Julia Cannon, now runs the company for quantum healing hypnosis technique that Dolores Cannon started and ran and infused with her passion. I adore her. I never had the chance to meet Dolores, but I have met Julia, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I attended the level 1 online course and the level 2 practitioner course for quantum healing hypnosis technique in Hawaii in October 2018, which was, I started this show, if you're doing math with me, in July of 2018. So right when I started this show was right when I started learning about quantum healing hypnosis technique from Dolores Cannon officially. And I was only a couple of months in when I got my level 2, or at least attended the training. And since then, it's just been this wild ride. Even my weight, my body weight has gone up and down. If you go back and watch some of those other videos, there's videos where I'm literally 60 pounds heavier than what I am right now. You don't have to, I don't have to convince you, because you can go back and find those videos, and my face and my hands and everything looks very different. My whole body looks very different than it did 60 pounds ago. And it's been kind of an up and down over the last 4 years. That's one of the things that's changed for me. Anyway, 4 years ago, back to that, as I was learning all these things about meditation and hypnosis and energy and gaining greater understanding of things that always just seemed mystical and weird before, I decided that I needed to share what I was learning, because if there were people like me who were searching for knowledge, truth, and understanding, then there should be people like me sharing it while we were learning it. And I did a thing. I jumped right in. Oh, wait. I'm jumping right into that part of the story. I really wanted to share what I was learning. I thought, I could wait until I learn more. I could wait until I'm really better at not saying and but and the in the middle of my own talkings and until I stop stumbling over my words. I could wait and maybe practice at home. I mean, I talk in the mirror all the time anyway. But I decided not to wait. And this little voice in my head said, but you're brand new at understanding any of this. This is, girl, you grew up learning something entirely different. Why do you think you can get a podcast or something and share all this information with somebody else? Why would they listen to you? And I said, I don't know, but I want to talk anyway. And if there's one person that shows up and listens and it makes a difference for them, then I want to do it. So I started looking into podcasts and how to make it work. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, looking into microphones, and I didn't even know. But I asked the universe for help trying to figure this out. I said, if you want me to share what teeny tiny little knowledge and understanding I have of all this stuff, help me figure out how to do it. And my work had a party. I got assigned to bring the music. So I called my friend Sean, who's a DJ and also manages the 2 radio stations that run out of Dixie State University. He had some speakers to loan me. I came into the station to borrow them. He gave me the nickel tour, and he offered me a show. I don't know how my jaw didn't like smack to the floor when he offered me a show. And also, when he offered me a show, let's not skip over the fact that I was freaking terrified. I knew it was the right thing. The minute he said, "Hey, you want a radio show?" As Sean would, I felt what I hope you guys feel when I talk, at least some of the time. I felt that strike of truth right inside me that, oh, yeah. Sorry if that was too loud. Yeah. You want a radio show. There was that screaming voice inside of me that said, yeah, take it, Della. Don't you dare turn that down. And then there was a part of me that was like, radio show? That's a little different from a podcast. And even though I knew I was going to accept, I told him I'd think about it. And I went home and I thought about it and talked myself into it. And had some talks with myself and had some talks with God and some talks with my husband, Chris, at the time. And the first couple of shows I had to come in here and couldn't do live. Right now I'm live on the air. You might be able to watch or listen to this later. Off the air, there's the listen live, listen later. But right now, at this moment that I'm recording, we're live on the radio. People driving in their cars can listen, even if they have old hoopties that don't have fancy satellite radios. Congrats for all of you who are able to listen to me one way or the other. After 2 episodes that I pre-recorded and then dropped in, I finally got up the nerve to do a live show. And I did my first live show. I think I talked about meditation. A lot of my shows back then, because what we're talking about today is the evolution of the Extraordinary Talk Show, because the Extraordinary Talk Show has evolved extraordinarily, and so has your host, Della, over the last 4 years. I hope that I taught you guys a lot about things like prayer and breathing and focusing on yourself and putting yourself first. I hope that I've taught you guys to look for opportunities to think for yourselves and form your own opinions and not think that you're better than anyone else, but to remember that no one is better than you. I hope that I've given you guys some new ways to think about things. I have absolutely found new ways to think about things. I've found new ways to think, new ways to live, new places to live, new people to surround myself with. And it hasn't been an easy journey. I have warned you before, and I will warn you again. If you're looking to change your life, I want to warn you that, by the way, your life might change. And just like I did a show a few weeks ago on sometimes you have to say goodbye to friends, break up as friends, because things that were in your life before your life got better aren't always going to be able to stay with you. And not everything that's been in my life over the last 4 years, while my life definitely has gotten better, not everything has stayed with me. I've discussed, I try not to share too much of my own personal stuff just because I want to have some privacy, but I think that you guys feel the value in my real life and my real stories, and that's what I've tried to speak as respectfully as I can about the man that I used to call the wonderful Chris, because he was my husband and he was wonderful. And he's not my husband anymore, and that's been kind of a painful process, not just for me, but for him and for some of the other people involved. And I don't want to call attention to that in any negative way, but it's part of my story. And I'm grateful to Chris for being part of my story. And I'm grateful to those other people for being part of my story. So it was 2 years ago, right about now, that my marriage essentially ended. Oh, I kind of skipped over COVID. COVID was tough, guys. I'd been doing this show a year and a half when COVID started, and I was able to maintain contact with Sean during COVID. I only did 1 or 2 shows during probably 3 or 4 months of lockdown and all that. Even though I did a couple of good shows on COVID, I highly recommend you go back and check them out. They're going to be different than what you're expecting. I have changed jobs multiple times since I started this. I've done home health. I've done nursing management. I've done nursing floor. I've done days. I've done nights. And I've done some other things. And right now I'm not working as a nurse. If I can be honest with you guys, seriously honest, it's hard to be a nurse. Not only is it hard to be a nurse, but it's hard to be a nurse now. It was really difficult to be a nurse with integrity and genuine care for my patients before COVID. And the regulations and rules and restrictions that came into place during COVID have made it very difficult to provide excellent care. And I believe in doing things that I can do well. And I believe in doing things that I enjoy. And the harder it gets to do my job, the less I enjoy it, even though I loved my patients. And I loved being a nurse. I still hope to work as a nurse in some capacities, but not full time. So if you've been paying attention for the last few years, you've heard me talk about some of my different jobs, some of my different experiences across those ways. I was a hospice nurse, and if you want to hear some cool hospice nurse experiences, there's some in there. So it was actually right kind of during lockdown, near the end of lockdown-ish, you know, when I wasn't the only person who got separated or divorced during that time. That was a time that made us look real close in the mirror. And if you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, you're going to react to that. And before that, for the year before that, I didn't admit it to you guys, but I was really depressed. I was so depressed. I felt like a hypocrite coming in here every week and trying to tell you guys ways to be happy when I couldn't think of any. And I pressed on anyway. And they say fake it till you make it. And some people argue you can't do that. I don't know if I faked it, but I kept showing up and I got better. And if you're struggling, I want to tell you keep showing up and it gets better. I promise. It doesn't get better any other way. If you don't keep showing up, it never gets better. Please. It got better for me. Show up. It'll get better for you. And I hear myself say, and I'm thinking about Toastmasters when they let up a red buzzer at the back of the room every time you do that. So I'll try to catch myself. Here's where I'm going, guys. It's been a great 4 years, and I have transformed tremendously. I have learned so much, not only about breathing and hypnosis, but about spirituality and about God and what I believe about myself. That was a big journey. Thanks for coming on it with me. I did this show today to tell you thank you, to kind of go back over things a little bit, to share a few of the steps along the way, and also to share with you where we're at now. As most of you know, I moved to Las Vegas a little while ago, and I'm still commuting every other week to come up and do the show because it still means so much to me to do this. I have a new partner in my life. His name is Jesse. And he understands me in ways that is new and unique to me. And he's pretty fantastic, and even my car loves him. My life is going on a lot of different directions in the fun recreational way. I'm getting into the Burning Man scene, and guys, if you haven't checked that out, it's worth it. But here's what I want to do. And here's where I'm asking for your help. I've been doing this show for 4 years. I've been doing it as a passion project. I've been coming, not every week. I'd be lying if I said it was every week, but it's most of the weeks. And I want to even be better about that. I want it to be every week that I show up with you guys, whether I'm here in studio or whether I've recorded something ahead of time for you. I want to keep showing up for you guys. And I want to ask for your help to do that. I, as you know, will never tell you to do anything. But I would like you to consider if you're listening to this, it probably means that you've gotten something out of the show. And if you have, I would ask you to return to me some type of energy, an energy balance. I know from doing my hypnosis that an energy exchange is a requirement if you want the full benefit and reward of what you're getting. If you don't invest in it, you get less out of it. And that didn't mean that people always had to pay me money for a hypnosis episode or hypnosis session, and still don't. I often did trade. My friend Colleen traded me a table for a hypnosis session, and I've done other things like that. So if you want to tell me thank you for something you heard on this show by sending me a big Care Bear hug, like that big old stare right out of your chest, I will welcome that. And I thank you for that. And if you want to tell me thank you by paying this forward, by sharing some of these shows, maybe some of your favorites along the way, I would thank you for that. And if you want to go to the Extraordinary Talk Show YouTube channel, there is one. Straight up, guys, I haven't checked it in a while, but that is on my list that will be being addressed in the next couple of months, along with where you can go, theextraordinarytalkshow.com. We have a website. It took us 4 years, but theextraordinarytalkshow.com is available for you to go check on our construction. Please be aware that it is still in construction because I'm brand new at this part. I've been doing this talking behind the radio thing for 4 years, but I've never promoted myself. And I'm doing that now. And I'm asking for your help promoting myself, promoting me. And if any of those ways that I mentioned, or any other way that you can think of, or also there, you can go to Patreon and check out The Extraordinary Talk Show on Patreon, where there is and will be even more better rewards in addition for you for helping me. You guys are amazing. Also, one thing that we have coming up is the Extraordinary merch store. It is not open yet, but we are working on, when I say we, I mean mostly me, plus my group of people and friends who love me enough that they answer the phone when I call and do things that even kind of sound crazy. So I'm going to hold up to the camera. This is the T-shirt that I designed. That will be the #1 T-shirt on the merch page. There will also be things like hats and lanyards and mugs and some other shirts and some other ideas. And that's still in the works, still coming. Why did I wait 4 years to start a merch store? That's a really good question. Why did I wait 4 years to get a website? Because 4 years ago, I wasn't where I am now. 2 years ago, I wasn't where I am now. And 1 year ago, I wasn't where I am now. And that doesn't mean I'm done learning. One thing that I know is if what I see to be true and what my inspiration tells me are the same thing, then that's usually true, and I can trust it. If I see something to be true, but my inspiration or what I know to be true, what I think to be true about that disagree, or if one of those two disagrees with the other, then I know that there's some truth there, but it's not full truth, and I call it a curiosity, and I need to look for more information. So whether I find a truth through inspiration and experience, or whether I find a curiosity through information and experience, it's my job to continue to find more truth. And I'm continuing to do that, and I'm going to continue to bring you more of what I find to be true for me to see if it's true for you. And I'd like your help doing that. So please help promote me. That's all I'm asking for. If that means share a show, if it means check out YouTube, Patreon, Podbean, Spotify, share a show. If nothing else, send me an energetic hug. And if you want to, if you think it's worth it, if there's any of these shows that made enough of a difference to you that you think they might make a difference to someone else, please share them on whatever format you got. As always, I'm not trying to tell you what to think, but I'm trying to get you to think for yourself. And I don't think I'm better than anyone.
You've been listening to The Extraordinary Talk Show with Della Hill. Search YouTube and Facebook, Spotify, or Podbean for video and podcasts of this show. Or go to radiostgeorge.com. We'll see you next week for another edition of The Extraordinary Talk Show.
I love you guys. See you next week.
Broadcasting from the campus of Dixie State University. Radio St. George at 100.3 FM.